Plaintiff Cheryl Green says the defendant dated her son, and after Cheryl took her into her home, she was forced to kick her out because she told Cheryl's 13-year-old daughter about her former life as a stripper. Cheryl's suing her son's ex for unpaid loans. In a second case, plaintiff Will Roble, who dated the defendant and has a child with her, says the defendant is such an unfit mother that he is the primary caregiver for their child. Will is suing his ex-girlfriend for car payments and auto repairs. Defendant Gina Romano says Cheryl is a violent woman who threatened to kill her, and now Will refuses to let her see their daughter. Gina's countersuing Will for an unpaid loan.
All right, why don't you give me a little background, how you know the defendant?
Okay. Gina is my son's ex-girlfriend. I met her 4 years ago when my son brought her home for me to meet, and as the stories unwound, a lot of drama unwound. And first she told me that she was adopted. Then I found out she had a father and a stepmother living in Illinois. Then I found out she had a mother in prison. Then I found out she had other family members. Then I found out she had some boyfriend in Tennessee.
You know a lot of finding out. What you put in?
Oh, it all came out
within. Put an investigator on?
No, she just likes to tell stories.
So she was contradicting herself.
Right. A lot of stories. There was a boyfriend in Tennessee who was a cop who beat her. She was homeless and lived in a car.
How did you find out differently?
Through her story. She kept switching up. But, you know, I took her in and I listened to her, and then she was living and before I knew it, she was living in my house. And I'm kind of active in domestic violence, and I hooked her up into counseling, and I wanted to help her out. And I felt bad for her, and that's kind of how she gets you wrapped up. And the next thing I know, she's living in my house, and at that time, my youngest daughter was 13. And then to find out, she was telling my youngest daughter a lot of stuff that was inappropriate about sex and about her being a stripper. And
none of this is true. Being a stripper?
That she was a stripper.
Yeah, I've never been a stripper in my life.
Okay.
I do not have the body to be a stripper.
Right. She has told everybody in our family that she was a stripper.
Well, he chose me to be the mother of his child, so apparently if he wants a stripper to be the mother of his child, because we do share a child together.
And she has told everybody and bragged about it. And she had pictures from when she was younger and thinner. And so, but
everybody's thin when they're young.
So, but she was telling my 13-year-old daughter this, and then she was using my 13-year-old daughter, which was causing havoc in my house.
Using her how?
To get phone numbers. She left phone numbers up on the computer of some guy she was meeting besides my son, and telling my 13-year-old daughter not to tell my son, and this was causing havoc in the house. And of course, my son was not believing his sister, and so finally a big war broke out, and I was like, both of you got to go. And I said, you know what? She's the type of girl who's going to get you into trouble. You're going to end up, you know, she's going to end up getting pregnant. And to my knowledge, I found out later, she was already a week pregnant. So she has a child.
I was 6 weeks pregnant when you found out.
To my knowledge, she was a week pregnant. And she moved out, and then there was that long drama. First, she was not going to have the baby. Then she wanted to put the baby up for adoption. She dragged some poor couple. She accepted their gifts, was going, visiting. That poor couple was devastated when she didn't give the baby up for adoption. Then she had the baby, told my son he was going to be part of the delivery, calls him an hour before she has the baby. We drive up there thinking we're going to be there for the delivery, and she's already had the child, and she's like, oh, I had the baby so fast. Well, I've had 4 children, so I know. I've seen the bags drip. And I told him, I said, they put pertussis on her. She had the baby the night they brought her in to induce it. And I confronted her with it, and she's like, yeah, but don't tell Will, because he'll be mad. But, you know, there's always a drama with her. There's always a story.
There's a lot of drama.
Always.
Ma'am, let me hear from you. Give me some of the background.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So when I first met this woman, Your Honor, she was very nice to me, very nurturing, caring, and yes, she was like a mother to me. I haven't really had an experience of having a mother because, yes, my mother is in jail in Arizona. I have not seen her or spoke to her since I was 11 years old. Now, Your Honor, I was adopted when I was 11 years old from my aunt, my uncle. Okay, had a pretty bad childhood up until that time, but life was pretty great up until I, was 18, moved out on my own. I can't complain. My aunt, my uncle gave me the best life.
Good.
Now, I meet him at 23, I think I was, okay? And come to find out that he has a child with an ex-girlfriend. And when the child was 9 months old, which is, we were dating for about 3 months, I got pregnant. Now, if I was going to force myself to be pregnant by somebody, I think I would have that be with somebody that's rich, has money.
Why?
Not somebody like this. I'm just saying, if I was going to
set somebody up.
Yeah, exactly,
Gotcha.
Exactly.
No need in setting up a broke man for a child.
Exactly. What am I going to get out of it?
Living in my house. Why was she living in my house?
Exactly. What am I going to get out of it? This?
Go ahead.
I need to say this. This is the sickest mother and son relationship I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
So?
How so? He has mommy go to court with him every 5 minutes when we're in court to fight his battles. He has mommy go into every police station with us every single time that we have to go to the police station because he's not letting me see my daughter ever since I took our truck.
Okay, well, that's not weird, ma'am. Many parents, no matter what the age is, they go to every court hearing with their child, so that's not too weird.
Okay, so going back to he has a child with this first girl. Okay, now then I start knowing that this house is an abusive house. She is abusive to him. He was abusive to her. They have police reports against each other. This woman has over a dozen police reports to her home since 2005. I don't even know one person that has more than one police report to their home unless they're calling on a neighbor or something like that for noise disturbance. There's a lot of abuse in that house. She abuses her handicapped child that's mentally ill, and she also abuses her teenage daughter when
you
his
knew
sister,
about all this.
Yes, his teenage sister that she's saying said that I was trying to hook her up with older men.
Child Protective Services.
No, I didn't because I was with him at the time.
Pardon me?
Because I was with him at the time.
Okay, so just because you were with him, you would stand by while children are abused.
Yeah, no, she already went to the hospital for that and told them that she abused her. So that was.
She admitted to the abuse.
Right.
Did Child Protective Services get involved to your knowledge?
I don't know. That wasn't for me to investigate.
So
I'm not the
your knowledge
investigator like
stops
her.
there. You know everything else, but when it comes to protecting those children that you allege were so severely abused, your knowledge stops.
Her husband
All I
is
want to
even
know
abused by
about
her.
is the abuse. Tell me about how bad it was. She beat her, she burned her, what else did she do? But when it comes time to say, hey, whatever happened with that abuse? Hey, did they prosecute the abuser? You don't want to know all that. All you wanted to know was the gossip because you don't know what ultimately happened with this child that was so abused. So let's get on, ma'am, to the loan.
Yeah, and I'll address all of that. Actually, all the police reports to my home and about my child, the police reports were from my ex who was arrested 4 or 5 times for domestically violence for me.
Okay.
She has been married 4 times,
quiet.
Your Honor.
Go ahead, ma'am.
And the abuse to my daughter was not abuse. She was taken to the hospital, which...
For what?
My ex had caused a drama at my daughter's work. She was working at McDonald's, and she came home and she was really upset. And then the police had come to ask. He sent a welfare check on her. And when the police came, my daughter said, "I'm so tired of this drama. I wish I would kill myself." So, of course, they took her to the hospital, and she was fine, and everything was fine. There was no DCFS involvement or anything. Of course, if there was, of course.
Now tell me about the loan that you're suing her for.
Okay, when my son was involved with her, and after Alexa was born, William was really concerned about Gina and her mental stability because Gina has a compulsion to lie. So I said to him, you need to step up to the plate, and you need to move in with her and help take care of this child.
I was already living with my parents.
All right.
I had somewhere to go.
Go ahead.
And that was not true.
And you know that she's going to be alone with the child.
She says you're a compulsive liar.
That's not true.
That's not true?
That's not
All
true.
right.
Your Honor.
You don't lie?
Your Honor, no.
Oh, that's a lie.
I don't need.
You do
no,
lie.
Your Honor, I don't need to lie to these
Everybody
people.
lies. You might say, I'll be
you.
there at 5:30, knowing that you're just walking out of the house at 5:30.
Right.
You tell somebody you're on the way there. That's a lie there.
I can prove that she lies because
How?
There's a police report just shortly, a little while ago. She was calling her daughter at my house, and she had some strange kids calling and harassing Alexa, saying,
What? Your Honor.
Quiet, ma'am. She's going to prove it. She's going to prove it. Go ahead.
harassing her, saying, oh, you can't go to Chuck E. Cheese today. Mommy couldn't get, or we were at Chuck E. Cheese today.
How are you going to prove this, ma'am?
In the police report, she says, my niece was trying to call. Gina does not have a niece. These were friends'
I never
kids.
said my niece.
Okay.
And I told the officer it was recorded, but I couldn't play it because
All right, so you can't prove
I didn't
that.
tell her.
Now let's
but
get
it's
to
in
the loans,
police
ma'am.
report.
The loan.
They found an apartment, and they needed the first month's rent, a half month's rent, and the security deposit, of course, you know, new
They
parents.
sounds like her and your son.
Right.
How did it end up being only her?
They needed $1,480. I divided it in half, $740 for her, $740 for him.
Okay.
And so then I had them both sign a promissory
All right,
note.
let's see that. And obviously there was something else, another loan. What was that for?
It's different loans for different amounts.
All
I
right.
kept a little record of every time I lent her money.
All right. Can you prove those little records?
I have it written down.
All right.
She would owe me more.
I'll listen to her now. Ma'am, what do you want to tell me about these loans?
And here's the lease
Your Honor, her
agreement, too.
husband's
Let me see it,
unemployed.
please.
She was unemployed and she's only a school teacher. I was making $2,600 a month. I didn't need to borrow money from her for anything.
Did you?
And yes, I did sign that contract for her, but Your Honor, right before I signed that contract from her, she did threaten my life.
Okay.
If I never let her son see the child, that she was going to kill me. And I have a police
go to
report
the
for
police?
that. I did go to the
And
police.
say she threatened to kill you?
Absolutely.
You have that?
I don't have that report on me.
Gotcha. All right. Your judgment is granted. You signed a note agreeing
Your
to
Honor.
pay. Come on up with the second case. And, sir, you're suing your ex-girlfriend for $5,000 for car payments and auto repairs. And she's countersuing you for $2,500
And more.
for an unpaid loan. Start with you, sir.
Gina and I obviously met 4 years ago at a church.
Church.
So,
No, he doesn't go to church. He was
That's
brought there
right.
by somebody.
Go ahead.
to kind of skip through all the drama of living with my parents, I'll get to the point where our child is born. Gina and I have a child together, Alexa, and I am the primary caregiver of Alexa. I have Alexa every day, excluding Gina's minimal visitation.
Excuse me, Your Honor. He will not let me have visitation. I've been to the police station. I have like 12 of these little cards of all these different report numbers on there. Every visitation from the time that I took to Dodge Dakota, which is why we're here today, is he has not let me see my daughter.
Sir, have you denied visitation to her?
Your Honor, there's some serious...
Have you denied visitation?
no, I've tried to attempt to do supervised visitation
You just
with her
got
as
it
long
today.
Why?
because there are stipulations in the current court order.
Why?
Because Gina has driven with our daughter without a valid driver's license. She has totaled a couple vehicles, has driven uninsured. There's
Gotcha.
some
All
mental
right.
health.
And so the judge agreed
That's not
that
true.
there should be stipulations to her visitation or custody, right?
Correct.
That's
All
a
right,
lie.
let's move on. I know it's a lie.
last time
Everybody's
that we
lying
were-
on you. Be quiet.
So, Your
Go
Honor,
ahead.
to kind of beat around the bush, I have two letters from her parents, both her father and her stepmother.
Saying what?
Basically saying that Gina's an unfit mother, that they purchased her cars, they took her into the house, she left them with the cars, that she can't care
All
for
right.
herself
Let's
or daughter.
tell me about why you're suing her.
I'm
for
suing-
car payments and auto repairs.
I'm suing Gina because I gave her a car, a black Dodge Neon, about 3 years ago, which she drove around. We purchased a second vehicle together. When she left October 9th of 2008,
When did you all purchase it?
I believe that was in 2008, so around October, I believe.
I left him October 19th, best day of my
I
life.
apologize, I was 10 days off.
Why?
October 19th of 2009, she left me and took the Dodge Neon with her, which 3 days later she totaled, and she was uninsured.
So you're saying you all were joint owners. She totaled the car, so you want your side of the ownership. Is that what you're saying?
No, Your Honor. Actually, this car that I'm specifically speaking of, I'm trying to build to the story, was just mine. I was the only owner of that vehicle.
And how did she get it again?
She had the keys because that's the one she was driving to and from work when we were living together.
How did she get the keys?
I did give them to her.
Okay, and you knew she was taking the car, right?
Not legally binding, no. That was just mine. I've made all the payments to it.
You owned it.
Correct.
And so she totaled it?
Yes.
Amounting to how much damage? Over 5,000?
No, it was probably about 3,500.
All right. And so today you want the 3,500?
No.
What do you want?
I'm trying to build to where the car situation is. There was a second vehicle that we purchased, and she was a co-signer to. On January 30th of 2011, she took that vehicle without my knowledge. She got a key made and took it after I've been making payments on it for a year and 3 months.
She hadn't paid anything on it?
She paid the first year.
Well, at least
Because
How many years had you had it when she took it?
About a year and 4 months.
So
3
she
months.
paid 1 year, you paid 4 months.
No, a
and
year. I paid a year and 4 months, Your Honor.
And she paid 1 year.
Correct.
So what credit does she get for her payments? If you want all of the money for the value of the car?
Because this is why I brought the other car up. I had to pay for the other vehicle.
No. Was there an agreement regarding the other vehicle when it came time to purchase this latest vehicle?
Yes, there was an agreement.
What was that agreement regarding this vehicle you're suing about?
That I would keep the vehicle and continue to make payments on it because it was my car.
And that the payments she had made would not be counted?
No.
Why?
Because she was technically paying for my car because it was cheaper for her. So I paid higher on the other vehicle. So technically I paid for if you want to look at it that way, I paid for the Dodge the entire time that we had.
No, we're looking at this one car, the one you're suing for.
Okay.
How much did she pay toward that?
She paid for 1 year's worth of $305.
All right, and you're vague about that. Your claim is about to be dismissed because you're not proving it clearly at all.
I have more proof than he does. Okay.
You need to leave your proof alone until he proves his side.
Okay,
Because your proof might end up proving his side.
No,
and as you
this
just
doesn't.
Go right ahead.
I'm sorry, but this is really important.
Go ahead. Sure.
Thank you. I have checks here that I put the down payment, as he just admitted that I paid the first year. However, he didn't pay a full year in 4 months. He texted me in January and he said, I haven't made a payment since September. So the car is going to get repoed on February 5th. And I said, well.
You have that?
Yeah. And I have from when I took over the car, bank statements.
No, just the text.
I don't have my phone on me, but yeah.
Okay, you have it in there though?
I think it's in my phone, yeah.
You think or you do?
Your Honor, I have a lot of texts saved by him. I'm
Okay,
pretty
you have
sure
a lot.
it's there.
Now you're
Yes.
being vague.
No,
I'm
but-
going to dismiss both of your claims. You all are both vague, and you have not convinced me of anything.
But
Have a
Your
good
Honor-
day. Both your claims are dismissed.
She needs psychiatric help. She needs psychiatric help or she's going to lose her daughter.
And Gina needs to step up and be a mom. I have our daughter every day, and there's some serious safety issues with her that her family and I both address, and hopefully she becomes a better person after today.
Yeah, and hopefully she stays away from my family because she will eventually get arrested.
It's the sickest mother and son relationship I have ever seen in my whole entire life, and the umbilical cord needs to be cut quick. That is disgusting. She's Satan, he's Satan's son. Nothing else to say.